This is a test video for a new YouTube channel, or basically short YouTube channels on mathematics. I propose that I create some sort of channel which induces most of calculus, or I mean, I wouldn't say calculus first, but more of college courses. So things you learn in calculus 1, calculus 2, calculus 3, linear algebra, differential equations, most of that applied and non-applied, so computational things with formulas, specific numbers you need and everything. And then, for specific majors, some applied stuff. So if you're like a physics student, you want to use calculus, use an integral to go from acceleration to velocity and a velocity to the position. That's one way of applying calculus to physics. If you want for biomedical stuff or just medicine, differential equations is best off used for essentially everything. I wouldn't say everything, but it helps model the solutions as t approaches infinity. And I guess one other area I would talk lastly about is ecology or basically ecosystems where you can use differential equations such as autonomous systems or looking at a phase line which tells you how a population acts as t approaches infinity, negative infinity, or a specific point along the range of t along, see if we have multiple different autonomous solutions that tell us the dynamics of the population as t goes on to positive infinity or negative infinity. With that all said, I also might introduce things as partial differential equations. If I don't know where this channel goes or anything, but to things off, I'm not using any sort of device, things like iPads, laptops, or some other external device. I might occasionally edit in some 3D stuff in the middle of things, or I'll probably put, insert a picture in here or something like that. But typically I'll be using my Remarkable Paper Pro, which is used, I use this for lecture, I use this for studying for myself since right now I'm a freshman at college, and I'm using this for lecture stuff. I'm using it to practice. Here's an example of me tutoring one of my friends. It's like a 40-minute lecture. Things like matrices and a lot of things are compatible for the learner, is the color stuff. So like if, for example, a 2 by 2 matrix, we can set that equal to A, and then we want to find out the rows and columns. And then by definition, rows are the horizontal factors of each matrix, meaning they go from left to right. All basically like you look at like a sky, like a horizon. Those are rows. You can slice them You can slice them left to right easily. So those are rows, which are these red marks right here in this matrix right here. If I can zoom in, yeah, a little bit slow, but you can see one thing I like about it is that my screen will refresh, but for the learner it won't. So, and you can see the red is let me scroll a little bit. If I can go to, oops, sorry. I guess you can just stay right here. The red is the rows. Those goes left to right. The columns, if you ever see like Roman architecture, those columns that people reference in class is probably your elementary school teacher. They mention these decorative columns going top to bottom. Well, you can use some matrices too. You look at a matrix, especially a square matrix, which is a 2 by 2 matrix. N by n matrices are always square matrix. There's some properties I've learned in linear algebra a couple months ago. Um, so the columns are top to bottom. So such as the columns, if you look at the column space of this, which is something you'll learn in linear algebra, we have a span of two, like one by n by n matrices, or n vectors, I should say, because we have two columns with two elements each of them, so top to bottom. So column one is just consisting elements 1 to 6, and then column two is consisting elements of 3 to 1. Yeah, this video is mostly introduction, see how it looks on YouTube, everything, and how the refreshing works. Um, I have tested some lecture halls here at my university. Goes a little bit slow. I would try my best to make it like, refresh, but it's a kind of new e-ink technology that, scientists and these companies have been working on. Something like this right here, I would not, it's really bright, especially like right here. This area is really bright. I will not do those in lecture on the videos because of course your eyes are the most important things in learning. So you want to track everything, visualize things, and memorize. And of course, I will put some fun into this stuff. And yeah, this is mostly what I did. So my plan is to start a series on Calculus 1. And for those asking, if you're thinking about, oh, where's the algebra, the trigonometry stuff? Well, I want to more aim this for, applied majors. We live in a world we have so much resource on basic mathematics. There's so many textbooks, so many videos, so many websites that talk about the Khan Academy. The problem is we don't have much resource on much of calculus. We don't. Calculus is the area where most people struggle on because it's a new area of mathematics. You're looking more at variables and looking how things work, how things work in the real world, how we can word these problems, how we can write an answer. It's a new way of thinking in mathematics. And there's so many properties that apply in the real world too. Integrals help us find an area, and it's not an exact area, it's an approximation. That's why when you look at calculus, such as the how you can find the left, right, and middle points, or I think that's what they're called, of individual rectangles through a region, especially in one if we're looking at 1D, you can just see how they're not exact approximate. They're not exactly clean. They're not exactly the right area. They're just an approximation of an area. And they have so many implications in mathematics studies, physics, weather. I guess you can also look into other majors, but I know those are the most primary majors that use mathematics. I will not do things. I will mostly do things maybe around, I think, of differential equations as a goal, and then look into things like ordinary differential equations, partial differential equations, maybe some modeling on mathematics, and then also maybe some practice problems of the week or practice problem of the day. Things will range probably from algebra, trigonometry, and up to differential equations. Some will be interesting. So yeah, I'm not sure when the first video might come up because this is a test video. I don't really know what to expect or try to find something. Try to do. I probably might do short videos like shorts that with a funny title, solve a math problem, and see how the engagement goes. And then as progressing, we'll see. I'll see how videos will turn out. Like full-fledged lecture videos I will do maybe with the help of my university. So anyway, I think that is my test video.